Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Healing Broken Families podcast, where we host conversations on divorce, parental alienation, and high conflict relationships. I am your host, Barbara Pointe, and today we welcome the owner and CEO of the firm In Her Court. And don't we all need someone in our court when we're going through a divorce? Jennifer is a financial planner specializing in separation and divorce. And as a financial professional, she's especially skilled at analyzing financial data and providing insight on the financial issues specific to separation and divorce. She's gone through the hard transition herself, come out the other side financially stable, confident, and thriving in her new life. And again, isn't that what we all want after we go through divorce? And right now with COVID-19 and so many pressures upon every human on the planet, there's a lot of divorce going on. And so we're going to talk about the money aspect of it. Welcome, Jennifer. So happy to have you here, and thanks for making the time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Neat. All right, so let's dive in. I'd like to ask you, what is a certified divorce analyst, for those that don't know, and why might it be important to have one?
A CDFA, Certified Divorce Financial Analyst, is a financial professional that is especially trained, specializing in divorce financials. So dividing your assets during divorce.
Can be kind of overwhelming when you need a family lawyer, and then someone says you might need a divorce coach, and now we're saying, and I highly recommend this, and now you need a financial planner. I know when I went through my own divorce, which was really long, I had a divorce accountant, and I also had a divorce bookkeeper. I wish I would have had a certified planner like yourself. But that is definitely number one thing that you should retain. So how exactly could you help someone going through divorce, Jennifer?
I become a part of the divorce team, and I can help in quite a few ways. I can help if there is already attorneys and coaches involved, and then I just become another member of the team to help be the sounding board and the expert in the financial portion of dividing retirement assets, knowing the consequences of selling the marital home, sometimes valuing a pension, a lot of things that the attorney, who's the expert in the law portion of everything, of course, I come in as the expert in the financials. And 90% of the time I help with hidden assets and financial lifestyle analysis, where I can chart and give a better idea of what the financial life was like during the marriage before it started to break down.
Well, how valuable. I mean, I think that's really, really valuable to have that support, because as we both know, there's so many turbulent emotions that come up during divorce, and maybe even someone in the marriage wasn't in charge of the finances. So to have someone like you taking care of that, I can only imagine would limit a lot of collateral damage in divorce.
Oh, yes. And when I step in as an advocate in her court, would be for the woman, I kind of serve the guided, holding hand, kind of unbiased opinion, to where I don't have any skin in the game. So I really give that expert look on the financial portion, because they don't have anybody that they can talk to about that portion of it, especially if they have been out of the finances for 10 plus years because they've been the caretaker of the household.
Yeah, exactly. Not an uncommon scenario, actually. It can just be so overwhelming to think about the finances when you're going through divorce, and you're thinking about parenting, and you're thinking about your family lawyer, and then you've got to also think about the finances, it can be so challenging to just have a clear head. So to have a partner in that, like you would, is really truly priceless. Jennifer, sometimes I've heard people say, well, why is it so complicated? Like he gets 50, you get 50, and that's the law. Most people have that ingrained in their head. What do you say to that?
Well, it depends on what state you're in, on if it is divided 50-50 or equitable. In South Carolina, for instance, we are an equitable distribution state, but 50-50 or equal doesn't always mean 50-50. There can be portions of assets that you might get in the settlement that could cost you money, especially tax-wise, and could be a penalty if you sell in the marital home. If you get the marital home, and there's some rules around that if you haven't lived in it for 2 years, and it could actually cost more. And then it's not 50-50 if you look at the consequences plus project it out 20 to 25 years to see that you're starting to pull from assets that you really should have gotten in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of charged emotions around the matrimonial home as well. That's really an anchor of a lot of attachment, I would say. And you do need quite a lot of understanding, because once you kind of go forward, it's hard to go backwards in a divorce process in terms of making
Yes.
those critical decisions. You can really only make them once. One thing I loved on your website was that you mentioned that you help women really understand the importance of a marital settlement and how it can impact their now moment, their short-term and their long-term future. And I'd invite you to speak about marital settlements, which is, kind of the goal that you're moving towards in divorce, hopefully, if you have a ethical family lawyer.
Right. When I serve as an advocate, I really help the woman look at what the settlements are, and we plug them in and analyze them to see not only if it will meet her goals a year from now, but 5 years from now and 20 years from now, is she going to have enough to retire? And if she's going to have to start pulling out of retirement early, and really look at, is the settlement really her best option or the best offer that really could come out of everything? Because a lot of times as women, I know we are more emotionally charged, and the financial portion can be so much, especially if we're not used to dealing with the financials of the marriage. We want to just be done with it. And I want to be done. I want to be divorced, away from you, and done with this. And that can leave a lot of money on the table that can help you when you're ready to retire.
Yeah, that's exactly what was going through my head. Is sometimes when you're going through divorce, it hurts, it's painful, it's stressful, and you want to be done. And it's so tempting to settle at the wrong moment. So tempting to walk away from the table too early, or just say, I give up. Like he wants this, he's saying that, because sometimes, especially if you're married to certain personalities or to very successful men, they've been trained in their career how to negotiate. And you haven't been. So it's you're not coming to the table as an equal partner, because it's hard to catch up on those skills really fast. And they know how to make you agree or put a lot of pressure that you just say, uncle, you just say yes. And once you say yes, again, you can't go back. So I imagine having someone support like you would slow that process down, where you can make sensible decisions.
Yes, and part of our initial few meetings are, aside from, the hurt and the emotional portion and the mudslinging that goes on during divorce, what are the lists of, make it or break it? Like, what is, you are not going to negotiate on, or what could be thrown at you that would make you want to be like, I'm not fighting anymore. I can't do this anymore. Because someone you've been married to for 10 plus years knows what those things are and know what your weaknesses are and know what they can kind of control you with to make you fold. So before it gets too bad, we look at where do you see yourself in a year and where do you see yourself 5 years financially? Once this is all said and done and you pick yourself up, where do you want to see yourself and how do we negotiate to get you there?
I really appreciate that future orientated approach that you're offering your clients, because sometimes we're in the moment and we're not thinking 5, 10, you even said 15 or 20 years out. And it's so amazing that you offer your clients that window, that future focused window, and bring that into focus for them, for women in your practice.
Yes, I know it personally, when I go through chaos in my life, that it's hard to see that there's a tomorrow, that it's going to get better, that the sun will rise again. It's especially when you're going through that process, it can be so long and so daunting and so dark that you just don't feel hopeful that there is going to be 15 years from now. So kind of reminding them that you will get through this. I've seen it. It's just how you'll get through it and be on the other side and what that looks like.
Absolutely. So one thing that I found really confusing in divorce was just how many legal bills there were,
Mm.
So one of the questions I have here, Jennifer, is how do you determine the real cost of divorce? And many women might ask their family law attorney, like, how much is it going to cost me to get across the finish line? I didn't learn that question until about 3 or 4 years into it in my divorce journey, and it's a great question. But when the legal bills and the plot is always evolving and the finish line is being moved back or sideways, it can be really hard to just get control of the costs of divorce.
Yes, and it reminds me of, and I don't know how it is where you are, but here we have one electric company in our area and one water company and one gas company. So you can't argue with them. It's either you deal with the bill you have or you have zero gas and zero water and zero electricity. I mean, you kind of get to a point where you could start all over in the divorce process and get a new attorney. You're not going to get that money back. You're going to have to pay more. You're going to have to do the exact same process as you did before. So you kind of get in the situation to where there is bills coming in and you either pay them or you don't move forward, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a very difficult reality of divorce. It costs
Yes.
it costs money to get divorced, and you can't. There's no point along the journey where you can say, "I'm out. I don't want to participate more."
No, because
I'm
then it costs
tired.
money to finish it.
I need a
Yeah.
break. Right. All right, let's move ahead here, and I'm going to ask you about some of the biggest financial risks that women are exposed to when they say, "Okay, yeah, they decide, yes, I'm going to enter into a divorce," and also ask you to speak to some pre-planning that they can do before they start their divorce to protect themselves.
So pre-planning, I would say at any point in your marriage is being involved in the finances. So being aware of what's what and where it is and who it's with and how much it is. Being involved in filing your taxes. It's very common for many, many years of marriage that, my husband takes it to the CPA does it. I have no idea what my taxes are. And me having to educate them on how that they can get copies of that. And then not knowing what's been on their taxes for 10 years, being educated on that. And then finding out that they could be liable if the IRS comes knocking at the door because it's a joint tax return. So being involved in filing taxes, not signing financial documents without really understanding what those are, what you're signing, asking questions. Don't be afraid to say, what is this? What am I signing? What does this mean? Why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? And just kind of be more involved in all the financial decisions of your household, even if you are not a primary, breadwinner. You are still yours, which I see a lot of being conditioned to think that it's mine, it's not yours, because you stay at home with the kids and I work every day. So it's my retirement, not yours. And that's not the case at all.
Yeah, that's the good news. That's not true. Which is great. I mean, in your experience, why do women forfeit their financial involvement or their financial empowerment? Why do we just give that up and not know about our taxes? Because that's not also perhaps not that uncommon. I see that in my practice. I lived that in my life for many years. And you're telling me that you also have seen this phenomenon of disempowerment in your practice.
Yes. And it is, not only, women that are caretakers, but also women that have careers. The husband has a relationship with the CPA, or the husband has a relationship with the financial advisor. And so they just let them handle that portion. And there's a trust that they're doing what's right for everybody. And I hope that's always the case. But I think it still needs to be something that you partake in just as a CYA, just in case. But I think that when we're mothers, or, we're caretakers, and all of those integral parts of taking care of a household is so much anyway, that adding that other portion onto it is daunting. And I think at first we're kind of relieved, like, yes, please, you do the taxes. I can't even function with that right now. And then it just becomes a habit, and, years go by and you have no idea until you need to know. And that's unfortunate.
I couldn't agree more with those points that you're making, Jennifer. It's so important to be accountable for every area of our lives, even our finances. And you're right. And it becomes more daunting after you get, when you have to confront this piece of the puzzle in divorce, I would say. What are some other financial risks that women are exposed to that they might not think about when they're thinking about getting divorced? Because it's great to call on my own experience, because I went, well, everything will be okay. It'll work itself out. And I didn't think too much about it at the beginning. And I would suggest to women, and tell me if you agree, that if they really brought focus to some of these financial risks before they started getting divorced, could be quite eye-opening. They might be speed dialing you up if they actually thought of some of the collateral damage or the areas of risk that they should be aware of.
So I would say your credit report. Really checking having the monitors on once a year, getting your free credit reports for every agency, because there could be debt that has been opened up in your name or jointly. You could have extended credit on your house, or second mortgages that you're not aware of. And I've seen that quite a bit. It's technically it's illegal, and I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving legal advice, but for someone to open up a line of credit in your name without you being aware is fraud. But it happens in marriage a lot. And when it gets to the point, either your spouse dies or you're going through a divorce and you're like, where did all this come from? Then it's hard to turn time back to fix that. That, and I would say knowing about your life insurance and your Social Security, which you can get a statement of that, or your spouse's Social Security. I don't know how that is in Canada. I assume it's the same as it is here. Okay.
split up during after divorce. It's shared.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just knowing what those are, especially the credit report, knowing, having alerts, because that may be the only thing that you have when you leave is your access to credit. And really, other thing I would say is definitely the taxes, because in the taxes you can see if there's other property that's been purchased or something that you're paying on or paying taxes on that you aren't aware of.
I personally would seriously book a series of meetings with you before I even met with my family lawyer. Because then you would have that understanding of of the taxes. You'd have copies of the taxes, and then you're not paying a family law attorney $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 per hour to tell you get a copy of the taxes, or you just come to your legal matters more informed.
I can help save quite a bit of money in that aspect. I have a list of everything that you will need prepared on the financial side, property side, that your attorney is going to ask for, that the opposing attorney is going to ask for. So I can help you get prepared.
So the last thing I heard you say was just that you would work with someone's attorney.
Yes, so I can work with your attorney, or I can work before you get an attorney. I can go with you to get an attorney, but I do have the list of documents and every checklist of everything that you'll need during the divorce proceedings. So it'll save you some money.
Save you some money and also make you feel so much more powerful when you walk in to see your attorney. You'll just feel so strengthened because you're prepared. I personally would have loved to have had you walk me through a few things before I began. Neat. And I also heard you, Jennifer, I heard you mention that women should be aware about life insurance. What should we be aware of in terms of life insurance?
Well, you need to have some, for one, and you need to know how much life insurance someone else has on you, what kind that is, whether it's accidental or whole life or term life. When you're going through a divorce, those need to be listed. But the biggest thing is a whole life policy has cash value. So when you're putting money into it at a certain point during that time, it has cash value that can be divided during the divorce. So really knowing what those are and having access to the policies, or even knowing that you have them, would help, because then they can be part of discovery.
And Jennifer, I'd like to invite you to speak about child support, spousal support, and even cash flow or making a budget, a divorce budget.
Well, child support here, I don't know how it is there, but child support here is we have a calculator. It's pretty standard. It goes by how many children you have and the income on both sides of the marriage. It's not really negotiable here. Spousal support, however, is negotiable here. And we have, there's permanent spousal support here or temporary. It's usually negotiated. The budget for divorce, I would say, I don't know about it during the divorce, but I definitely help my clients with coming up with a budget and learning what that's going to look like without that income that they've had for many years. It kind of the best case, worst case scenario, and knowing that they need to scale back and what they need to scale back on.
And what's important about having a budget when you're confronting divorce? Why do you recommend having a budget? Because we all use the term budget, but what's really important about making one with you?
because it can be pretty sobering when your way of life, what you're used to, the worries that you've never had before, all of a sudden become only your priority. So know the fear of the unknown, of what to expect. And, best case scenario, you get everything you're asking for, all the assets and the alimony. But worst case scenario, this is what it's going to look like, and this is what we need to do to be able to help you live, and then this is what you're going to need extra to live more comfortably.
Yeah, I can imagine the more you know, the more you prepare, the sort of calmer you're gonna feel, and stronger you're gonna feel as well.
Yes.
So yeah, beautiful. So important to think about these things when you're going through divorce. Jennifer, we've talked a lot pragmatically about the business of divorce and the money side of divorce. Is there anything that you feel is important that we have not addressed when it comes to the dollars and cents of divorce?
There is, I guess it's, no, I think we addressed it all, but the main thing, the most important thing is knowledge is power. So, the more you educate yourself and more knowledge you can gain or during the process and about your finances is going to help you tremendously through and after going through a divorce.
I like this. I like the sign you have on your wall that says the best accessory a girl can have is confidence. And so I imagine having some financial empowerment will really help you negotiate or create your new life forward with confidence.
Yes.
Financial confidence.
Yes, and going through a divorce, I mean, that's rough as it is. So rebuilding and reshaping what that looks like will definitely give you a new, fresh perspective and confidence in yourself.
Super. So before we say goodbye today, I ask every guest on my show to share sort of a healing wisdom or maybe a more spiritual side of the dollars and cents of divorce. A takeaway for our audience, something you'd like them to really remember, or just a golden nugget that we can close on today.
I'm a big believer in what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So it's battle scars, and they suck, but they definitely create warriors. So
I love
this
that.
too shall pass.
Yeah, this too shall pass. It's only temporary. And warrior women passing through the storm with more confidence and more financial empowerment, and having someone in your court like Jennifer, absolutely 100% will make a huge difference. Jennifer, if anyone in our audience would like to reach out and connect or collaborate with you, what's the best way to reach you?
My website is inhercourt.com. I have Facebook in Her Court LLC, and I have Instagram in Her Court. And I have a Facebook group that is a man's guide to a woman's finances.
Interesting. Okay, that sounds worth checking out. Beautiful. Lovely. So once again, thanks. I guess it's time to say goodbye. So thanks for being here with us today. And thank you to our audience for tuning in and taking the time. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on our channel, either on YouTube or to our podcast through iTunes or Spotify. And I invite you to check out my ebook, Erased by a Narcissist, One Woman's Journey Through a High Conflict Divorce. And you can find this on my website at barbaralapointe.com/podcasts. Be sure to check out Jennifer's website as well for financial support. Thanks for taking the time to be here on the Healing Broken Families podcast, where we discuss and help you find solutions to divorce, parental alienation, and high conflict relationships. God bless, and see you next time. Thank you for being here, for supporting the Healing Broken Families podcast and being part of this amazing healing community. I'm Barbara Pointe, a solution-focused life coach, divorce coach, and conflict resolution specialist. But I am so passionate about your awakening. I am passionate and so excited to welcome you to your own divorce awakening, to your own spiritual and soul awakening, because all is well. You know what? We are empowered to heal. We are empowered to heal. And your divorce, difficult, high conflict relationship, parental alienation, all of these things you will come to see them as a gift. You will come to see everything as a beautiful gift. So embrace the conflict, embrace the struggle, embrace the wound. I invite you now to please go to my website, barbaralapointe.com. There are many free resources there for you, but a great place to start is download my ebook, Erased by a Narcissist, and then book yourself a free complimentary consult or connection discovery call. I will serve and coach you powerfully for an hour. Also, I invite you now to subscribe to my YouTube channel, make comments on these videos. I ask all of my expert guests to make themselves available to you and also comment your questions, your pain, your problems, and your thoughts, your opinions, your concerns. I truly, truly believe that we heal in community, and I welcome you to my community. So I'm sending you a lot of love and blessings. I've come to know that when you go through divorce, you truly need to be resourceful, strong, and supported. So it's an honor to walk this journey with you. Welcome to your awakening, and welcome to your deepest